All right, so let's move on to the next instrument. Next, we have this brass. So let's hear it by itself. So that has some high brass and it has some low brass, but I'm going to treat it as just high brass because if you listen to the whole mix here, that 808 and that kick are already taking up all of that low real estate. And there's a bass sound as well. I think. And there's like a perk loop that's taken up some of that space as well. So I'm going to treat this just as high brass hits. So if you remember from our mixing sheet, that lives in the 3 to 5K range, somewhere in there. So let's see what that one's doing. So let's just play, hold on, let's go to the mixer. Let's just play the brass. So I'm going to cut out a lot of that low end. Oh, that's swell synth. Hold on. Here we go. That one. There we go. All right. Okay. So it's playing a lot in here, but I feel like this part of it is muddying it up. So I'm going to remove the low end first. So we're going to do high pass. Like we always do. Steep 8, 140. Take a look. There we go. All right. 140. I'm going to take some of the shine off of it. Again, like I said, I like to save that for either the Atmos or the like the atmosphere sounds, or for the vocal, so it can take up that space up there. So I'm going to do a low pass. And we're going to make it steep 8. And I'm just going to move it over here. That's a little too filthy. Actually, it needs the shine. It needs that shine. The sound needs it. So I'm just going to reset. I'm right click. I'm clicking reset. Oh, sorry. And I'm going to reset it again. All right. Well, I'll just pull it over here. Okay. Now it's still a little muddy, and I really want that 3 to 5K, like this part of the this part to shine through, I guess. So I'm going to dip this down. I'm going to narrow the frequency range a little bit. There we go. Just going to dip that down, and I'm going to keep this low end low. Yeah, I like that. I might pull a little bit of that air out. Yeah, I'm taking a little bit of shine off of it. I'm removing some of the muddiness here. And I'm leaving it nice and bright because the rest of the instruments are taking up, making it warm and thick, right? So I'm just leaving this as a bright instrument, as a kind of an accent. Okay. So let's hear it all together. All right. Another thing is we want to widen this out a little bit, so we're going to use our wider tool. There we go. It's fighting with other instruments. So let's see what it's fighting with, because we cannot hear that clearly. I've widened it out, even if we pan it all the way. I mean, I can hear it better when I pan it all the way, but it's definitely fighting with another instrument. Let's figure out which instrument that is. Probably not the kick, probably not the snare, probably not the perk loop. And then we have another snare. So we got brass. Maybe it's this guitar. It's probably this guitar sound. So let's listen to those two together. Yeah. Those two are fighting. They almost sound like the same sound, which is pretty cool. But we're going to mix these two together. And you'll find that. You'll be like, well, I just mixed the sound, and you listen back to it on the mix, and you're like, but it's buried. I can't even hear it clearly. Panning it left and right does make it a little more clear. And I definitely want to keep the bass part of this sound. Hold on, let me hear it with the 808 real quick. Oh, I guess you don't know. But I feel like the integrity of that chung 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 that sound is in the low end. I definitely want to keep that, but I don't want it fighting with the 808, so I'm going to widen that out as well. So you can still hear that low end, but it's not fighting with that 808 as much. So let's go to guitar chunk. Here we go. Guitar chunk. Here you are. We're going to keep that low end. I'm going to take out the subs, though. So steep 8. Probably from like 60 below. Yeah, about that. Well, we'll keep some. There we go. It's still rocking. I'm going to take some of this top end off, though. So let's do high pass. Oh, oops. I meant low pass. Low pass. We'll do steep 8. I wish it defaulted to steep 8. That's what I use. Alright. I mean, I like the distortion. I like the in-your-face of this instrument. Let's just widen it out and then see if that helps us hear the 808 more clearly, and then we'll work on being able to hear the brass and the guitar chunk together. And panning might be our key to that. So let's go ahead and widen this. You know what? I feel like widening it is going to take away some of that percussive chunk chunk. Let's try it. Let's try it and hear it. But I have a feeling it's going to make it sound less percussive, which I don't like. But let's give it a shot. Let's see what it sounds like. Let me just solo this instrument. Okay. No, actually it's all right. But let me do a right and left. Let me take, when you click this little light right here by the plugin, it disables it. So I'm going to try doing these two together. I'm going to disable the wider on this, and I'm just going to do a right-left thing. So I'm going to put the guitar chunk in the right, and I'm going to put the brass in the left, and see what that sounds like. Let's hear it with the whole mix. Let's hear it with everything. That sounds like garbage. It definitely needs to be right over. Definitely needs to be right over the 808. It needs to be down the middle. Just maybe wider. Okay, let's try the wider. Let's try them both with wider. And maybe this is something we could treat as one instrument. Maybe that's the answer. That sounds good. That actually sounds pretty good. I think that's our answer. So let's listen to them together. Yeah. We still need to keep the low end. All right, listening to all of it together. Brass just needs a little more volume. So let's add Maximus. What just happened? Here we go. More plugins. All right, Maximus. There we go. All right. I'm going to add up the post fader. And what post-fading means is it's just raising the volume level. If it was a pre-fader, it would be raising the gain, which is the input level. How do I explain the difference between those two? So input level is how much signal your computer is reading from its source. So if the gain goes too high, it's going to start distorting because it's getting too much signal and it can't handle it all, right? So we like the input level. We just want to be able to turn up the volume of it without affecting the gain, the input level at all. So that's what this post knob does. If you ever hear the term post fader, that's what they're talking about. Right, that's what we do right now. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, let's move on to the next section. Hey, what's going on? I hope you've enjoyed this training. This training is just part of a larger course, so if you want to take the whole course, just go to this playlist right here. Also, if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get a lot of information on how to get your music into TV and film. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, all of those things. Let's go.